was 17 the night it happened, and I remember every detail because it was one of those nights where the air feels wrong before anything even happens. My parents had gone out for a late dinner about an hour away, so I knew I'd be alone until at least midnight. I wasn't scared. I'd stayed home alone plenty of times, but the house felt unusually quiet that night. Too quiet. I made myself something to eat, sat on the couch, and put on a show. The kind of show you don't really watch, you just let it play in the background while you scroll on your phone. Everything felt normal for the first hour. Then, around 10:30, I heard something upstairs. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, just a soft shift in the floorboards, like someone taking a slow step. I paused the TV and listened. Nothing. I told myself it was the house settling. Old houses do that. But the sound had been so clear, so deliberate, that it stuck in my mind. I unpaused the TV and tried to ignore the uneasy feeling creeping up my spine. About 20 minutes later, it happened again. This time, it wasn't subtle. It was a heavy, dragging step across the hallway above me. I muted the TV instantly. My heart started pounding, and I stared up at the ceiling like I could see through it. The hallway above me led to my bedroom, my parents' room, and the bathroom. There was no reason for any noise to be coming from up there. I stood up slowly and walked to the bottom of the stairs. I didn't go up, I just listened. For a few seconds there was nothing. Then I heard it. My bedroom door creaked open. I felt my stomach drop. That door always stuck a little. You had to push it hard to open it. Hearing it move on its own made my skin crawl. I whispered, "Hello?" My voice cracked. No answer. I took one step up the stairs, just one, and that's when I heard it. Breathing. Slow, steady breathing coming from the top of the staircase. Not mine, not the house, someone else. I backed down the stairs, step by step, never taking my eyes off the darkness above. When I reached the bottom, I grabbed my phone and slipped outside onto the front porch. The cold air hit me like a slap, but I didn't care. I just needed to be out of the house. I called my dad first. He told me to stay outside and that he was calling the police. The police arrived in about 10 minutes, though it felt like an hour. They went inside while I stayed with one of the officers on the porch. I kept listening for anything, footsteps, voices, movement, but the house stayed silent. After searching the entire place, the officers came back out. They didn't find anyone, but they did find something. In my bedroom, the window was wide open, and on the carpet, leading from the window to the hallway, were muddy footprints. They weren't mine, they weren't my parents', and they were fresh. Whoever had been in the house had slipped out the window just minutes before the police arrived. But the most strangest part of it was I would have seen whoever was in that house slipping out, or maybe they went through the back door, I don't know. I still think about the breathing I heard at the top of the stairs, how long they had been standing there, how long they had been watching me, before I even realized I wasn't alone. I'm Aaron, I'm 21, and this happened last winter when I was working late shifts at a warehouse. I'd get home around 12:30 a.m. most nights, and since my parents were out of town for a week, I had the house to myself. I didn't mind. I liked the quiet. But after this night, I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable being home alone again. But the moment I stepped out of the car, something felt wrong. Not anything obvious. Just that weird, instinctive feeling that something is off. The kind of feeling you can't explain, but your body reacts to anyway. I unlocked the front door, stepped inside, and immediately noticed the air felt stale, like the house hadn't been opened in days. I tossed my keys on the counter and kicked off my boots. The house was silent, too silent. Usually the fridge hums, or the heater clicks on, or something makes noise. But tonight, it felt like the whole house was holding its breath. I walked into the kitchen to grab a drink, and that's when I noticed something that made my stomach tighten. The hallway light upstairs was on. I never leave that light on. I'm obsessive about turning everything off before work. I stood there staring up the staircase, trying to convince myself I must have forgotten. But I knew I didn't. I walked through the hallway and done something I shouldn't have. I slowly walked up the stairs, each step creaking louder than usual. When I reached the top, I saw something else that made my heart start pounding. My parents' bedroom door was half open. I always close it before leaving. I pushed it open with my foot and scanned the room. Everything looked normal. Bed made, window locked, closet closed. I checked the bathroom next. Empty. I tried to shake it off. I told myself I was tired, paranoid, imagining things. I went back downstairs to heat up leftovers. I opened the fridge, grabbed a container, and when I closed the door, I saw something in the reflection of the microwave door behind me. A person. Tall. Still. Standing at the top of the stairs, I spun around, but the staircase was empty. My heart was pounding so hard, I could feel it in my throat. I grabbed a knife from the drawer and slowly walked toward the stairs. Halfway there, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. The attic door was open, just a crack, but open. I never go in the attic. I hate that place. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, staring up at the dark hallway. The attic door swayed slightly, like it had just been moved. Then I heard it. A footstep. Not from the attic, from my bedroom. Slow, heavy, deliberate. I backed away. Gripping the knife I went to get from the kitchen so hard my hand hurt. Another footstep. Then another. Someone was walking around my room. I ran outside and called the police from my car. When officers arrived, they searched the house. They found a backpack hidden behind my bedroom dresser with clothes, food wrappers, and a phone charger. Someone had been living in the house without us even noticing. The officer told me something that still makes my skin crawl. Based on the dust patterns and footprints, the man had been coming down from the attic while I was at work and walking around the house freely. God knows how long he has been living in our own house. Imagine the amount of food he has took from our fridge and other things that I don't want to notice. The police never caught the person. Still knowing that person is lurking out there, still most likely in others' houses, makes me feel sick. Nothing felt wrong that night, and that's the part that still bothers me the most. Because usually, when something bad is about to happen, you feel it. A gut instinct, a shift in the air, a little voice telling you something's off. But that night, nothing. It was one of the calmest nights I'd had in weeks. My boyfriend had left for his late shift around 6:45. He kissed me goodbye, grabbed his jacket, and said he'd text me when he got a break. I watched him pull out of the driveway, the taillights fading into the quiet street, and then I locked the door behind him. The house felt warm, safe, normal. I made myself dinner, cleaned up, and put on a show in the living room. The kind of night where you don't think twice about anything, you just exist. Then, at 9:47 exactly, I heard it. A single knock at the front door. Not loud, not frantic, just one solid knock. I froze. Nobody knocks at my door at that hour. Nobody visits unannounced. And my boyfriend definitely wouldn't knock. He has a key. I muted the TV and listened. Nothing. I walked to the door slowly, staying quiet. The porch light was on, casting a soft glow through the frosted glass. But I couldn't see a silhouette. No shadow, no movement. I checked the peephole. Empty porch. I stepped back, confused more than scared. Then came the second knock. But this time, it came from the side of the house. A hollow thud against the siding, I felt my stomach drop. I walked to the kitchen window and peeked through the blinds. Someone was standing in the side yard, tall, still, facing the house. I couldn't see their face, just the outline of a hood pulled low. I ducked down instantly. My heart was pounding now, but I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't want to make a sound. Then the person took one slow step toward the house. I backed away from the window, hands shaking. My phone had no signal. Wi-Fi dropped. Just like that, I whispered, "Please go away." The figure didn't move. Then they walked, slowly, toward the backyard. I could hear their footsteps on the gravel, on the grass, circling the house. I followed from inside, turning off lights as I went, trying not to be seen. Then came the sound that made my blood run cold. The back door handle rattled. Not turning, just testing, like they were checking if I'd forgotten to lock it. I pressed myself against the wall, holding my breath. The handle rattled again, harder this time. Then a whisper, right against the glass. Not words, just a low exhale. I backed away, shaking so hard I could barely stand. The motion light in the backyard flicked on. I peeked through the blinds. The person was standing directly under the light now, head tilted, hands at their sides, not moving, just staring at the house. I whispered, "What do you want?" They didn't answer. They didn't even flinch. Then they walked, slowly, around the house again. I could hear their footsteps circling, checking every door, every window, every possible way in. But they never tried to break anything, never forced a lock, never smashed a window. They just kept testing, trying, waiting. My phone buzzed suddenly, making me jump. A message from my boyfriend. "On break, everything okay?" I typed fast. "Someone's outside, trying to get in." He replied instantly. "Call the police, I'm coming home." Then I heard it. Footsteps, right outside the front door again, followed by the softest whisper I've ever heard. "I know you're awake." I backed into the hallway, shaking so hard I could barely breathe. The footsteps stopped. Then, nothing. No more knocking, no more rattling, no more footsteps, just silence. When the police finally arrived, they found footprints all around the house. Every door, every window, every corner, but no sign of the person. 2 weeks after that happened, me and my boyfriend moved out of that house into a new one, and my boyfriend has stopped doing late night shifts. I still get trauma from this night, and what could have happened if that person decided to break down the door? Or I opened it, and they could easily overpower me anyways. I hope this never happens to anyone in their entire life.